Hey YouTube, Carrots Wig here, bringing you all my Batteryman Yugioh deck profile for March 2019. Want to do an update for the Batteryman deck. I've always been a big fan of the deck. It just has so many different play styles and so many different ways to play the deck. My favorite is just, as pure Batteryman as you can get. I added a few other cards that work pretty well, just with the whole concept of Batteryman in total. And the biggest thing was the new spell card that is fresh off the ban list that worked really well originally when it was at 3, and that is Monarch Stormforth. So I want to do an update with this card now being at 3 with the deck in total. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the Batteryman monsters, they're all Thunder monsters, all different levels, all have different effects that all revolve around, special summoning the Batterymen. So with Microcell, it's a flip effect. When it's flipped, you special summon one level 4 or lower Batteryman monster from your deck, except Batteryman Microcell. And after this card has been flipped face up, when it is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you draw one card. So not only do you have your setup for your other Batteryman that you run in the deck with their effects, you have that draw power if your opponent ends up destroying it when they attack into it. So if you flip into it, most of the time I prefer when I can actually have my opponent destroy it, just because I'll get that draw power off. But you have other options, just like being an additional monster to use for a link summon or any other extra deck monster you may want to go for. So 3 Microcell, just so you make sure you open up this card, definitely needed in the deck for sure. Same with Batteryman 9V. I run 3 of this one as well. When it is summoned, you can add 1 Batteryman monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, this card's attack and defense become double its original attack and defense. You can only use this effect of 9V once per turn, and during the end phase, destroy this card. So you can grab the Batteryman you need for your next plays, whether it be Solar, or most of the time I end up going for Charger if I have the options to tribute into it. 9V just really does help for that search of the Batteryman you may need for your play. So definitely 3 of as well. Most of the time when I do summon this card, it's one of the targets I go for Microcell, obviously. So I like having that option available to me. And I also run 3 of the newest Batteryman, which is Batteryman Solar. When it is normal summon or special summon, you can send 1 Thunder monster from your deck to the graveyard. If a Thunder monster is normal or special summon while this monster is on the field, special summon 1 Batteryman token onto the field. And you can target 1 Batteryman effect monster you control or in your graveyard. This card's name becomes that monster's until the end phase. You can only use each effect of Solar once per turn. So with Link monsters being a thing and us having plenty of different ones to go into, including some Summoner, which works with Thunder monsters, those tokens definitely do help just to get those plays off with all the different Batterymen you can summon out as well, along with some of the spell cards and just other effects. Solar's token really does come in handy for a lot of different extra deck plays. And I also run 3 Batteryman Charger. Lots of 3Fs in the deck, but they all run very, very well together. When this card is normal summon, you can special summon 1 Batteryman monster except Charger from your hand or deck, and this card gains 300 attack and defense for each Thunder type monster you control. So with all the ones you can get out on the field very, very quickly, Charger comes in handy just for that special summon, depending on any of the ones you may have wanted to go for beforehand, and just overall the power he can gain with his boosts and having all the other different monster options on the field for Thunder type monsters, including with the extra monster zone now being a thing. Having that extra spot for the Thunder monsters definitely is helpful with this card overall. And lastly, for the 3Fs, I run 3 Batteryman Fuel Cell. I like to kind of think of it as the Faltrol, the X-Saber Faltrol for the Batteryman. If you control 2 or more face-up Batteryman monsters, and you can special summon this card from your hand, and once per turn, you contribute 1 Batteryman monster except this card to select 1 card your opponent controls and return it to the owner's hand. Gets rid of pesky extra deck monsters or just things you can't get around with all the Batteryman monsters you run most of the time. Fuel Cell is just an easy special summon, so having this card in your hand just for that easy special summon definitely does come in handy, since most of the time, even if you successfully flip up Microcell yourself and get that special summon, you'll then get either the Search or the Send with 9V or Solar, and then Tribute into Charger, which then you can have more than 2 monsters to special summon out Fuel Cell to the field to then have for its return effect. So very, very helpful for sure, running 3 of those. I've decided to only run 2 Industrial Strength in the deck. I debated how many I wanted to run of this card, but if I decided like at 3, the card was kind of a dead draw early game because you need to get your graveyard set up for this card. It cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned except by removing from play 2 Batteryman monsters from your graveyard. And once per turn, you can remove from play 1 Thunder-type monster from your graveyard to destroy 1 monster and 1 spell or trap on the field. This one takes care of so many of your opponent's cards. It's definitely the Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning of the deck. You can set up your graveyard, like if you know you have Industrial Strength in your hand. Solar's Send effect just works so well to work off of some of your other plays. If you know you're going to be going for the Industrial Strength instead of going for the 9-volt, definitely go for the Solar to set up that graveyard, because not only will you need the cards to remove from play to summon out Industrial Strength, you'll also need the ones to use for its Banished Destruction effect. And also with the Batteryman all being light, 3 Honest is pretty much staple in the deck as well, just for easy hand trap protection. Don't run too much back row in the deck, so this is just another extra protection. If your opponent ends up destroying some of your Batteryman, having this as extra protection definitely does come in handy. And I also run 3 Ash Blossom, just another good hand trap to make sure your opponent doesn't stop your special summons of your Batterymen. So just being able to stop their searches as well. I actually not stop the special summon. That is what Call of the Grave is for when your opponent has their Ash Blossom. My big mistake there. But Ash Blossom is still very helpful, just to shut down your opponent for sure and all of their plays. And then lastly, for the monsters, I decided to run an artifact engine in the deck. You go into the extra deck good amount of times, but just being able to stop your opponent's shutdown is why I decided to run 2 Scythe in the deck as well. If you wanted to run Lancia, you can adjust your numbers for the Ash Blossom. If you want to put 2 Ash Blossom in and put in a Lancia to run 3 of the artifact monsters, you can try out that as well. I just like 2 Scythe. It's usually all I ever need when I'm going for my plays with Artifact Sanctum, which we'll get to later on in the video. And then moving on to the spells, I run 3 Short Circuit, a big key playmaker for the deck. You activate only if you control 3 or more Batteryman monsters. Destroy all cards your opponent control. Now, with all the big attack of all the different Batteryman monsters, you should be able to push for game if their field is clear and if this card goes off successfully. It's not a once per turn either, so if your opponent negates it the one time, you can just have another one if there's 2 in your hand and then reuse it again. So very helpful for taking out all your opponent's field, especially if they go first and have that field set up. If you can successfully get a good amount of Batteryman monsters on the field, or like I said, just start off from the micro cells play, then this card is definitely your game winner right there for taking out all your opponent's resources. And I was debating how many battery charger I wanted to run. Maybe 3, but I have the 1 quick charger in there for now, just to cover it, since I only had 2 charger. But battery charger, you pay 500 life points to special summon 1 monster from your graveyard. That includes Batteryman and its card name. Easy Monster Reborn for the deck, since most of the monsters we do like to revive are Batteryman, so easy card to use. Quick Charger just recycles level 2 level 4 or lower Batteryman monsters from your graveyard to your hand. So good for recycling some of your 9-volts, your microcells, and your solars, you name it, back to your hand to reuse. It's also a quick play, which you can set and activate as well. So you can adjust your numbers. If you're happy with the 2 charger and the 1 quick charger, then that's completely fine as well. But another one that really helped with a lot of the plays was the Monarch Stormforth, now at 3 on the ban list. Now your main play obviously was tributing out for your charger, but just being able to use your opponent's monsters, meaning having this, and then that normal summon resource to go into with charger is one of your biggest plays, and one of the plays I remember the most about this deck when it was at the pinnacle of power for Batterymen. So you definitely need 3 Stormforth just for all the very helpful plays. I think with my last update, I only had 1, but 3 with just all the search you can get to definitely grab a charger to summon out. Definitely does come in handy for sure. And then just for a few other generic spells, I run 1 Monster Reborn along with the battery charger, but just, good for some of your other link monsters to get out. with this one when they're destroyed or sent to the graveyard. And I also run 2 Called by the Grave. This is the one obviously I was talking about when I meant Ash Blossom earlier. But, you know, you special summon a lot from the deck with this deck. So Called by the Grave can stop your opponent's Ash Blossoms, Effect Failures, you name it, and make sure your plays go off. I decided just to run 2 though. If you want to adjust or, you know, maybe drop down some of the Batteryman numbers, like maybe either put Solar or Volt 2. I like 3 ofs, but that's completely player preference, just if they're looking for a third Called by the Grave spot. And then for the traps, the only trap I run is the Artifact Sanctum. 3 of this, just a good one to set with Scythe that shuts down your opponent from the extra deck. So that's the main key reason I run the Artifact Engine, just to go off of that play. With the Batteryman deck, I do think the extra deck is a very big bonus key play to have access to. You can do plenty of plays for sure just with, you know, Fuel Cell and Industrial Strength alone for the deck, but just being able to shut down your opponent doesn't completely hurt you as well if you end up having to do it on your turn. But that is it for the main deck. When I move on to the extra, I run 1 Hippo Shenanigan, just the light generic monster for boosting all your light monsters. Definitely does help for sure. With the token you make with Solar, it's just an easy card to summon out, and then the recycle effect as well. And I also run 2 Summer Summoner. Once per turn, per opponent's turn. It's a quick effect. You can discard 1 card, then target 1 Thunder monster in your graveyard except a Link monster, special summon it to a zone this card's points to. Any of your Batterymen that aren't limited by special summon requirements, key card for this, especially if you open up doubles of some of yours that you just can't reuse. Like if you had multiple microcells and just, you know, had 1 in the hand extra. For the discard, for the special of some of your bigger Batteryman, obviously. So this one definitely does help for sure. And I also run 1 Linkuriboh, Microcell, the tokens you make with Solar. You have those options with Linkuriboh. And I also run 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Topologic Trisbana, and 1 Borlo Dragon for the Link monsters. And then for the Exceed monsters, I run 1 Starliege Paladynamo and 1 Bujinte Tsukiyomi. Just 2 light options for your level 4s for redraw power, and then just, you know, stopping your opponent's monsters with this card. And for other generic rank 4s, I run 1 Dark Rebellion, 1 Gagaga Cowboy, 1 Evil Swarm Excitant Knight, and also the Utopia lineup with number 39 Utopia and number S39 Utopia the Lightning, just for another power exceed play. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like I said, I've been a big fan of Batterymen, so really glad that they are once again at a pretty full power play with the Monarchs Stormforth. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.